Today in this video, I'm going to teach you the art of war and its few tactics that you can apply it to the real world that can be applied in any field. Planning, deception, maneuvering, and adapting to changing circumstances are some of the main topic we are going to cover. To win the war, you must know yourself and the enemy. That means you should know strength and weakness of your enemy and yourself. Knowing the strength and weakness will give you a significant upper hand in the battle. Creating illusions, misleading opponents, and manipulating their perceptions can give you an advantage. For example, in modern warfare, camouflage and concealment are forms of deception. Soldiers might use natural surroundings or artificial covers to make themselves less visible to the enemy. In a business context, this principle can be applied to negotiations, where one party might withhold information to gain an upper hand. The highest form of mastery in warfare is achieving victory without engaging in direct combat. It emphasizes the importance of psychological and strategic maneuvers to weaken the enemy's resolve and will to fight. It encourages strategic thinking, where victory is achieved by understanding your opponent, finding their vulnerabilities, and using psychological, economic, and political means to overcome them without engaging in direct battle. For example, consider a business scenario where two companies are competing for market dominance. Company A might engage in aggressive marketing campaigns, lowering prices, and directly challenging Company B. On the other hand, Company B could focus on building strong customer relationships, innovating quietly, and strategically forming partnerships to expand their reach. In this scenario, Company B is applying the principle of breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. Instead of engaging in a costly and potentially damaging price war or head-on confrontation, they are winning over customers and market share through more subtle and effective means, ultimately achieving victory without the need for direct conflict. Highlights the importance of strategic discernment in choosing when to engage in conflict and when to refrain from it. This quote underscores the idea that winning isn't solely about brute force, but also about understanding the most opportune times to take action. An example from history is the Battle of Thermopylae. King Leonidas of Sparta and a small force of Greek soldiers faced a much larger Persian army. Despite being vastly outnumbered, Leonidas chose to fight in a narrow pass where the Persians couldn't fully utilize their numerical advantage. The Greeks fought strategically and valiantly, delaying the Persian advance and gaining time for reinforcements. While they ultimately lost the battle, their tactical decisions showcased the importance of knowing when and where to engage in battle for maximum impact. In a business context, think about a startup facing intense competition from a well-established industry giant. Instead of engaging in a direct head-to-head competition that might be difficult to win, the startup might strategically choose to focus on a niche market where the giant is less dominant. This decision to avoid direct confrontation allows the startup to establish itself and grow without unnecessarily battling a stronger competitor. Instead of destroying your enemy, it is better to capture them. In many situations, capturing an asset, resource, or even an opponent can be more advantageous than outright destroying it. This principle is often applied in both military strategy and other contexts, like business. For example, imagine a military scenario where a group of soldiers has come across an enemy vehicle loaded with valuable supplies. Instead of destroying the vehicle and the supplies, they might choose to capture it intact. By doing so, they not only acquire the supplies, but also gain valuable information about the enemy's operations and plans. This knowledge could be strategically used to plan future actions more effectively. In a business context, consider a company facing a struggling competitor. Instead of pushing that competitor out of the market completely, the company might opt to acquire it. By doing so, they could gain access to the competitor's customer base, technology, and market share, potentially boosting their own business, while also preventing another competitor from emerging. It is the tactic most of the big companies apply. Like Facebook acquiring Instagram and WhatsApp.